Welcome everybody to episode 19 of the Board Game Specialists. I'm Carla.
And I'm Melanie.
And today we were going to talk about our top 9 patio deck games, but instead we're still at GobFest here, which is a convention in Edmonton, Alberta. We're going to talk about all the games we've played the first 2 days of the event. We're heading into the third day, but we have so many games that we played that we thought we'd just talk about these today.
Yeah, get it out of the way because otherwise it would take the next episode if we try to fit the games we played plus the patio deck. We'd be at it for hours and hours. Exactly. So this is my first time attending GobFest. Mm-hmm. I've attended FallCon in the past. Now you've been at GobFest before.
Yeah, just once before, 3 years ago, because they canceled it the first year of the pandemic, and then last year they chose not to run it as well.
Yeah, it's so nice to be back to gaming.
Our first real, we did have a little convention in, April?
Oh, yes.
One in Calgary, but this one's a full weekend. So
it was from 6 o'clock till midnight on Friday.
Yeah.
And then we did... we were there at about 8:30.
Yeah.
8:30 to
we creeped in the doors a little early.
You just show up. And then it goes till, is it 5 or 6 today?
6, I think.
6.
Yeah.
So there's another still full day of gaming coming up.
Because it went till midnight last night on Saturday. So
yeah. So when I first registered, I thought I was going to be attending by myself. So I registered to a bunch of games that they were teaching there. And you guys ended up doing the same as well.
We registered for a few as well.
Perfect. So let's talk about the first day then. The first game I was registered to play with was Seven Wonders Architects. And it was neat. We ended up playing it back to back twice. And Seven Wonders Architect to me really feels like Seven Wonders meets Between Two Cities. Mm. It was really interesting because everybody gets their wonder, and it comes in like these cardboard pieces that you put together because it's all modular, and then you have to build it. And the game ends when one player builds their entire wonder. And then there's all a bunch of different wonders depending on which civilization you're going with. So you put these cardboard pieces in front of you, and then each player also get their own deck that gets shuffled, but the deck is placed between you and the player to your left, basically. Mm. So the player to your right has their deck between you and them, and then there's a deck in the middle as well. Now the deck in the middle is face down, you don't see that. The other deck all around are face up. And then on your turn, you select a card either from the deck to your left, the deck to your right, or the one in the middle. Mm. And there's this cat going around as well, because some of the ones... like the blue card, and I think it's the politics card, some of them will give you access to the cat. And then when you have the cat, you can peek at the card in the middle before you pick which card you want to take. It was so quick. It was super quick, super simple and easy to play, hence why we played back to back.
Oh, you played 2?
We ended up playing 2.
So like a half-hour game, I think?
Maybe. Nice. I think a half hour is probably but it was just such a quick game. Still plays up to 7 players. It was neat. It's kind of a simplified version of the Seven Wonders game. With the you still have like the military, you still have the science and that sort of stuff as well. It was cool. So that was the first game I played.
All right, well, my first game that I played was a little heavier. It was Underwater Cities. Now, I've played that a couple years ago twice. They were very sporadic, so kind of forgot rules, but had remembered the gist of the game. But we got to teach, because we had signed up for this game, and played a 4-player game of this. This took I think it took almost 3 hours with the teach.
You guys were at it for a long time.
There's a lot probably to it, but... Anyway, it was a good game. I like it. It's a card-driven game, but you also have this little player board in front of you, and you're building these domes and tunnels because you're underwater, and the earth is too populated, so you have to start building underwater. So you can also build these farms. You can build kelp farms, these labs that will give you money, and I can't remember what the other ones are called, but they will bring you science tokens. And you need all these kind of tokens because you need food to feed your workers. You need the kelp. and you need money for all kinds of cards that you need to buy or build. You also need science to build certain things as well. And when you're placing these things on your board, there's some bonuses underneath. So you kind of want to spread out and reach these bonuses. And of course, the ones that are further on the board are the best, juiciest ones. So you need to like try to get there, because there's one in the corner that's an end game point that will give you lots of points. So you really want to reach that one. The other ones are kind of instant bonuses. Now the cards you're playing are interesting as well, because they come in different colors. And then there's a big board in front of you where you're going to put your action discs, because you have 3 action discs. Now, if you put an action disc on, say, a green color and play a green card, you're going to get to do 2 things. You'll get to do the action that's on the board plus the action that the card you're playing. Now, if you play a card that doesn't match that, you just won't get to do that, the bonus. You'll just get to do the action that's on the board. So you're really trying to figure out, okay, I need to play this card there, but you only get 1 turn, and then it goes around the table. So those spots can be taken up. And there's spots to build tunnels, to build more cities, to collect money, to get better turn order, because you want to be first if possible. It's a really heavy, chunky game, but it's compared a lot to Terraforming Mars, where I don't really see a comparison except the card play, but there's not really...
Well, it's not engine building quite as much as Terraforming Mars is.
Not really, like, because the symbols don't combo off each other. Like, you do play either an action card or an ongoing card or an end game card, but I don't feel like it's similar to that.
Yeah, it's not a good comparison.
No, I prefer this game. I really like it. And I ended up buying a copy for Melanie. I was at our local game store, and I'm like, we had just been talking about, finding this used, and we found one for sale. Found one for cheaper. I'm like, hey, do you want a copy? And she's like, you convinced me. Okay.
Twist my rubber arm. Yeah. Okay, so after I played the Seven Wonders Architect, when we cleaned it up, there was 2 guys setting up The Captain is Dead. And I own The Captain is Dead, and I love it. So right away I was like, can I play with you guys? And then they were trying to learn the game, so it worked out. So I sat down with them. Now, The Captain is Dead is basically Star Trek, the board game, without having purchased the IP.
Right.
So, and you're on the ship, and the captain is dead, and you have some aliens, and things are falling apart. And then you kind of, because at the start of the game, you flip over a few of the alerts of like things going bad. Mm-hmm. So our shield is already halfway down, and some of the systems are down. And the goal is to fix your jump core enough time so that you can kind of go jump out of there. Right? So that's the main goal. But in the meantime, everything's falling apart as well. So you need to maintain the other stuff also. This game is punishing.
Is it cooperative?
Hard. It is cooperative.
Okay.
The only time I've won this game is when we played it wrong. And we forgot to bring...
when you cheated.
Exactly. Unknowingly. But yeah, that's the only time I've ever played this game. But it is so fun. It is so fun. And then you can kind of see what's coming. It's like, oh, great. There's an alien ship, and it's going to hit our... it's going to hit us, and our shield's going to go down 30%. And then you're like, okay... Well, I can go, and then each character, because you kind of randomly select characters, and each character has some skills, but then you can also collect skill cards, and then different actions going to require different skills and actions. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, well, I've got what I need to go and fix, kind of boost up our shields a couple before we take on that hit. Now, if the one person can get to the armory room and fire a torpedo, maybe we can destroy this before it gets to us. Oh, but the torpedo is down, so we have to fix it. You know, there's so much going on with it. It's amazing. I love this game. Mm-hmm. So that was the second game I played at GobFest, yeah.
Nice. My second game, I think it was my last that night, because this one took a little while too, just because we were kind of learning as well. It's called Wild Serenghetti. So a friend that joined us at the convention, Ashley, she had ordered this game from a from a Kickstarter, but not directly from
like
Kickstarter.
Third party,
yeah, third party. And so she was waiting for this game to come before she drove to GobFest. And
That's
it was
funny.
hilarious because she's just patiently waiting at the door for this UPS driver, and finally he came at the last minute.
Because we're all texting each other all morning before GobFest starts.
We were all so excited we were going to skip work and just go.
By the time Cherry woke up, she's like, oh my God, there's 55 messages already. Yeah, we're a little bit excited.
Yeah, but she did end up getting it, and she brought it. It was beautiful. It has all these animal meatballs, and it's about the Serengeti. There's a board, and you have all these objective cards. They're not in your hand, they're in front of you. So everybody knows what you're trying to achieve. And you're placing these animals in certain spots on the board, in certain terrain, in order to get this exact pattern on the cards. So whether they need to be in a line, like lined up, or on certain terrain, or on certain terrain and lined up, like some are easier or more difficult. And what you are is photographers trying to take pictures of all these animals.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So there's certain things that each card will give you. They'll give you like food, paw prints, bananas, meat, like all different things, or hearts. So it's like, I was kind of joking, it's like likes on Instagram. And if you have however many likes you have at the end of the game, it like multiplies in points. So if you can get 10 hearts or likes, you can get 50 points at the end of the game. So me and Ashley were really going for the hearts. Well, we were playing with our other friend, Cherry, and then this guy that we had played Underwater Cities with. And he found this pattern where you have some cards that will give you multipliers of other symbols that you already have. And we didn't really notice what he was doing, and all of a sudden we look and he's getting 20 points, 30 points, 40 points. He's going around the board. We're like, what? We can't let him have any more diamonds on there. Because those were the symbols that were given him multipliers on some of these cards. So we were trying to keep that away from him, but he did end up blowing us away on that one. But it was really nice. The little animals are screen printed, and they are just beautiful. Like, there's so many of them too. And it wasn't what I had expected, because I didn't back this, and usually animal games, they've got me, and I usually will get them. And Ashley was surprised too. She's like, I'm really surprised you didn't, get this one. And the only reason I didn't, well, one reason is, I backed so many games at the time that I had to weed some out. But it is a little bit similar to the game Ecos.
Oh.
So I don't know if you've ever played that one, but
no.
It has a similar kind of theme. I don't think you're a photographer in that one, but it has different terrains and different animals that you can put out, and you're trying to suffice this like objective card of placement. The difference there is you can move terrain around in that one. So it doesn't have a board where the terrain's fixed. You can actually move people's terrain and move animals and different things like that. It has a similarity, but they are quite different enough that you could have both in your collection. So that was my second game of the convention.
The next game I played, well, my friend Keith was there.
Right.
I saw him there, so I kind of ended up visiting with him. He's like, well, want to play a game? I was like, well, let's play your game, because he's the designer of Dice Born Heroes. And I've played it a few times, and I've purchased his game last month. And I wanted to play it, like I said, but I want to play the full thing. Because last time we had he was doing demos, so we weren't getting into the
So was
the
it just a
nitty-gritty.
prototype you had played before?
Well, no, I played his game, but it's just because his game has different scenarios you can play through. And we were just kind of doing a sample thing where we were bringing monsters in, but it wasn't kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of the scenario. But what we ended up playing is he actually has this prototype in play right now where he's got a whole scenario book. Like, this book is like almost 100 pages of different scenarios you can play through, and then the book becomes the board. So we ended up playing one of the scenario where, and it's neat, like just a story behind it, because it's I guess we're Dice Born Heroes, and we got called in to help out at this museum where all the paintings are haunted.
Oh yeah.
And then there's ghost cards that keeps coming out, and then depending on what the ghost cards does, monsters come out and different things. And then and it was so neat. So you have so many, well, you have 2 dice to start, and then you roll your dice and you kind of decide which one you're going to assign. And then that's going to do a certain thing. And then you're attacking the monster and you're trying to destroy the monster. And like, we don't have that much health. It's a tight game. Mm-hmm. And then but what's neat is once we go through the first level, we would flip the page and go into the next stage of the scenario. Okay. And then our character levels up. So you take the card that you have, where with the abilities you have, and you flip it over. Then you have two options of like the second level. So you can go with, you know, this ability, and the dice would do this, and you could do the second ability. Now I went with the one that allowed healing, because on the first round nobody had healing. Mm-hmm. And we were like, it wasn't an easy win. So then, and then it tells you, okay, well, your character's is upgrading. You could be like a monk, or you could be this other thing. So then you get another card that kind of stacks on top. Mm-hmm. And then this, when you go into the third level, then that card, I'm about to sneeze, but that card flips over, and you get an extra ability, and you get another card. So like the progress of how your character levels up as you play was really cool. And like the whole story with these paintings and the ghosts, and you know, so it was really neat. And that was the third game I played at GobFest.
Nice. That was all we got to play for my end on that Friday night. But you played one more.
I played one more. I ended up playing, well, like half a game almost. So I ended up playing Azul Queen's Garden. Mm-hmm. I ran into a friend that I know from Edmonton, and then he's like, well, let's play a game. So we pulled it out. And now this is, well, everybody thought Azul was a trilogy, and then they came out with this fourth game.
So never gonna end, I think.
Maybe not. But, and it's funny, like, as we were playing it, now, the way that it works is you have your board, and on the side you have, like, where you can stack things before you place them onto your board, and this is the garden. And at the start, you only have the middle portion that you can build on, but you can add segment to your garden. So, and you start with, like, 3 wild tiles. They're gray tiles, and those count as wild. And you have like, it plays in 4 rounds, and you have a stack of, like, these garden extras, that 4 stacks of them, and then on the top of the stack, and they're face down, so on the top of the stack you put 4 tiles. And these tiles have patterns on it, and you can draw tiles that either has matching pattern or matching color.
Oh, from the
from
factory
the top
kind of thing?
From the 4.
Yeah.
And you can't have matching tiles. So if it's the same pattern, same color, you can't take them. Okay. It has to have just all the same pattern but all different colors, or all the same color but all different patterns. And that's what you can take. Now, when you take one from the top of that pile, the top tile and whatever tiles is left on it gets moved down, and then you add 4 more tiles. And you keep doing that as you're drafting these tiles. And then the tiles, different shape, but they do have that Azul heft to it. Yeah. And then any tiles that you take are going into your, like, holding area. Now, when you want, and then you have, like, this board that kind of keeps track of score, but it scores 3 different things the first time, or 4, 5, 3 things. And it's like 2 pattern or color. So you want to try to collect those patterns and those colors. And I think the first one was 2 different colors and a pattern, but like, so, and it kind of changes every round. So, and they're not all the same. Like, some are cheaper. So the first one, we were scoring on dark green, on blue, and on the tree symbol. Okay. So to play a tree symbol, it has a cost of 1. So 1, it's in your holding area. To place a tile from your holding area onto your board, you need to pay the cost. So that tree was a cost of 1. So you just got to place it. That tile counts as the cost, so it was good. You got to put it. Now, when you place these tiles on your board, they have to either be touching something of a similar pattern or of the same color, but not both.
And can it count with the ones that are on, like, colored on the board?
Yeah, so you'll be scoring your board every time, right? So be like, well, you know what? We're not scoring purple yet, but I might as well add purple because purple is next, and then it'll be on the board. Like, so you can do it like that. And then, so you're creating these patterns, but then once you start getting into, like, the more complicated, or, like, the more expensive patterns, so this one, like the butterfly, let's say, I don't remember what the cost was, but let's say it had a cost of 3. So then to place a butterfly onto your board, you'll need to pay for 3. So the one you place is 1. So then you got to discard 2 tiles from your holding area, but they have to be of the similar color or pattern, but not the same as well. So it's a lot more restrictive.
So just to get them to your storage, you have to do some thinking, and then to get them from there to your board.
So it was like, I mean, you got that Azul feel where the tiles, and then the way that you get 4, and then when you pick, that goes and you kind of get access. So, and then it has the Azul feel where, at this area to do this one, you need to play 5 tiles in order to place the 1, right? But that's where the comparison ends. Like it was... And like I said, we ended up, because we started this game fairly late. They ended up kicking us out. It's like, you're the only one left playing.
We're watching you play this.
You need to pack it up. So we played 2 rounds. But yeah, like it's definitely a thinky game because you got to strategize. It's not just like, I'm going to take these ones. It's like, no, because you got to try to get the one that you can match color or pattern so that you can pay to put them on your board. Like it's definitely way more restrictive.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have purchased this one this past week. I had pre-ordered it at Wizards Loft.
Oh, okay, nice.
Our local game store, and haven't had a chance to learn it yet, so I might have to give it a try today.
Yeah, no, it was cool. So that was the first day.
Yeah, day 1.
And then on day 2, now the first game we played, and then we played this one together, was Cottage Garden.
Yeah, I was considering buying this one. This was up for sale in the auction. So I wanted to try it out. Oh, wait till you hear about the auction. But anyway, so this was my choice. I'm like, okay, guys, let's give this one a try.
So because Indian Summer's part of this trilogy, then
Indian
you have
Summer,
Cottage
Spring
Garden
Meadow.
and Spring Meadow.
Yeah, and Spring Meadow.
Now, we quickly read, because nobody at the table had played this one.
No.
We played part of this, and you ended up having to leave because you had registered for a game. Yeah. And we kept playing for you as you left, and I think you won.
I think I got second.
Or second place. I don't know. You kept taking the pieces, even though you weren't there. It's like, no, but I need this one. So it's interesting, because you have this grid, and you have the dice that goes around. So on your turn, you got to pick one of these polyomino piece that's on this grid, but you can only take it from the row of where the dice is.
Right. And that's the gardener.
So you got 4 options to pick from, which can mess you up. And then you have your little garden tile. Well, it's dirt, I guess, at first. Mm-hmm. But you have these little pots that's sitting there. And if you try not to cover them up because you'll score those.
Right.
You cover the pots and you cover these little glass bell things in the garden as well. So, and you'll be scoring those. And you're adding these tiles. And when you fill up your plot, you can score them. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what we did, but I know we were not playing this right. Because at one point it's like, Kate, now you can pick from either one of your gardens or whatever. It's like, we never had more than one the way we played it. So we've played this wrong. I mean, to me, this was okay.
It's a little step up from Patchwork, basically, right?
Maybe, yeah. I definitely enjoy this more than Indian Summers.
Yeah.
Because Indian Summers, and I mean, Indian Summers is cool. You're collecting these pieces, you're putting on there, you're getting berries, and then you can use your berries to do different things, and it's really cool, and you build up this, and then, but it's a race.
It's a race,
and then once you fill your thing, you're done. Yeah. And I was like, but do we not score? Like, it just feels like you missed something. Yeah. There should be something else here. So definitely for me, it was a step up from Indian Summer, but yeah, we didn't play this one right.
Yeah, no. If I still would purchase this if I got it on sale somewhere, but it went too high in the auction, so I didn't bother keep continuing bidding on it. But
now, which game was it that you went to play?
So I had to leave because I had signed up for Messina 1347. Now this was a big boy, a heavy one too. This was the same designer as Underwater Cities. So I was looking so forward to this game because I had tried to pre-order it, but you can't even pre-order it yet in Canada. So it's still not even here. Now, this guy from Edmonton, he imported it.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
So, and he said he didn't even pay all that much more to import it than what it'll be when it comes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he taught it to us. He had it's called a guest hosted game. Like, people can just choose to bring one of their games and they'll put it on the schedule, and ask for so many players, and then you can sign up for these games. And then he will teach them and play with you. So there was 4 of us playing this game. It's interesting. It was very fiddly game though. It's about the plague, And so you have this modular board in front of you with all these different spots you can go for actions. And then you have a player board in front of you. And you start with 3 workers. And on your turn, you're going to place a worker in this modular board in front of you, and you'll get certain actions from it. Now, on some of these tiles, there's going to be these black cubes. So those have the plague already. So if you take a person from that tile, they have to go in quarantine right away. So there's a little spot on your board on the right side, and they're in quarantine.
Okay, it's a little close to home right now.
And if you don't have fire to fight the plague, you need these little fire tokens, then you have to take a rat. And a rat goes on your board, and you can never get rid of these rats. And they're all worth negative points at the end.
Of course.
So the first thing you're trying to do is get these fire tokens, because then you still have to put the person in quarantine, but you don't have to take rats. So the fight to get the fire spots on there, the first couple rounds, is interesting. But so once you do that, this person goes in quarantine, and you can go to all these different places to collect wood and money to build things, because you want to build upgraded spots in your quarantine, because then they will give you stuff from round to round. Or you also want to place these buildings, because once these people come out of quarantine, they go onto your board, and they will give you a little benefit on your board, because you also have these other 3 little type of workers that you're going to move around your board to give you bonuses if you have people next to them. Mm-hmm. So it's another whole little thing that you need to worry about. But then you can take these workers any time and put them in your buildings if you build them. And those will also at end round give you bonuses or end game points. Now you can upgrade these people, and once they get out of quarantine, you can upgrade them, and they'll give you points or multiplier points at the end. There's also these boats that are around this whole modular board where the plague is coming in, and they're always bringing the plague. Oh, nice. So there's 4 corners, and you start with 1 boat. And so everyone's trying to get these boats as well, because you can fight the plague there, and you kind of collect these boats because they bring in spices or all kinds of different resources, and you kind of want to have the same. So if somebody's going for spices, you maybe don't, because you're going to be fighting over that same boat as they come in. Mm-hmm. It was more than I thought that it would be. I mean, I love heavy games. I love Vladimir Suchi's games. And I don't know if it was just... I was quite tired because we didn't get a lot of sleep the first night. We literally, I think, maybe 5 hours of sleep, which, I mean, might be a lot for some, not a lot for me. I need about 7 to be really good functional. But it didn't overly impress me, and I don't know that I'm going to buy it now. I think I'm going to have another play before I buy this one. Mm. And it might turn out that I love it. It was just so much to... figure out on my board, and it's just so fiddly, which I don't mind fiddly in certain games, but yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely gonna have to give this one another try. It could be just awesome, and it just was so much to learn on a tired day. But that was my first game of day 2, my kind of first game. I played a little bit of that Cottage Garden. But then, what was your next game?
Because, while you guys were doing that, or while you were playing that, we played Creature Comforts.
Right.
Now, we played Creature Comfort 5 players. I think that was a mistake. Yeah. But Creature Comforts, okay, so first of all, this game is adorable. Beautiful. And you have all these little wooden bits for all the different resources that you can get. Now, it's a worker placement, dice placement. So first you place your worker on the different actions you want to do. And you have 2 of your personal dice that you would roll, and depending on the locations you go, says, well, if you have these dice, you can do this, or if you have 2 dice that are going to be less than 7, then you can activate this thing, and then you collect different things. And then there's 4 community dice that gets rolled after you've selected to kind of activate that you can use towards activating these things. But these 4 dice, everybody's going to be using them, so you take turns. So if I'm first player, I've already got my meeples on the table, and then I start assigning where I'm going to do the dice to activate these different actions. And then when I'm done, the next player goes. The 4 community dice are still the same number. They still go into there. And then they get to utilize them as well as their own 2 personal dice. And then you do that for 5. So because we were 5 players, we had to do that for each player. So it took a long time. There was a bit too much downtime at 5 players for sure.
Well, and each player's turn, like they're doing,
Yeah, so you're doing this,
like a
all these
5-10
different
minute
actions,
turn. Yeah.
collecting resources, and you can spend those resources to purchase these different, I think that from the tool shed. So these different things that you can do from the tool shed, and there's also like the comfort cards that you can collect, and then you can build and put them down as well. Now, everybody that was there played at the table. We all bought our own copy that day. Like we all went and seeked out our own copies. So I think at 3 players, this game would be amazing.
It is.
So super cute. To me, it reminded me of Lord of Waterdeep.
Oh, really?
Because you have all these different locations. No, Lord of Waterdeep is just a worker placement, but it's worker placement. You collect these resources, and then you spend the resources to complete your mission cards. Like it just kind of had
that feel.
To me, it just had like a cutesy Lord of Waterdeep feel to it.
Yeah.
A little bit. But yeah, no, definitely it was neat. It was cool. It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. And now I have my own copy.
Yeah.
And then you have a copy.
No, I didn't buy one.
Oh, you didn't? That's right.
I wasn't playing there.
And then Cherry has a copy.
Yeah, and
Ashley has a copy. And then the guy we're playing with already had his copy. Like, it was ridiculous.
Well, and did you know this was a local designer?
No.
So I knew it was a Canadian designer and a Canadian publishing company.
Right.
Kids Table Board Games.
Okay.
And so I was talking to a lady up front because we were trying to find what we were, where we could get one or whatever for you guys. And she said, "Oh yeah, she's a friend of mine. She's a local designer." I'm like "No way, from Edmonton."
Oh no, that's impressive.
I'm sorry she didn't come to this convention, and she could have sold tons of games here, but
anyway. We bought them anyway, so I think she's doing just fine.
Yeah, her name's Roberta Taylor.
Oh, okay. Huh, cool.
Very interesting. So after that one, now I can't remember, you went to, because we ended up playing something with, because there was a friend, Matt, an old friend that we had who played Creature Comforts with you. So he came and sat with us, and then we ended up playing 100 Torii.
Yeah.
And I think you maybe were having lunch or something.
I went and grabbed lunch or something like that, yeah.
I think I was eating lunch while you guys were playing that first Creature Comfort. So this was Ashley's game we played. It's a tile laying game. It's kind of compared to Carcassonne, but other than connecting the tiles, that's really it.
Okay.
So
it looked good.
Yeah, it's cute. It's really fast too because there's only a small stack of tiles. It was a 4-player game. So you each get 2 tiles on your turn, and you'll place them on the table, and you are all connecting one whole garden. And on your tiles, you have different resources, and you have these gates. Now you have red gates or blue gates. So what you're trying to do is put a tile on the board and get as many gates as you can to the next resource of the matching kind. Mm-hmm. But if there's one really close to you, then you can only go to that one. You have to go to the closest matching resource.
Right.
So at the beginning, it's not too bad because you can get at least 3 or 4 gates in there maybe, and then you get one of the colors lets you collect same type of resource, and the other color lets you collect different types of resource. So you're wanting to collect as many of one type as you can to get these little trophies kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So once you get the first 5 collected, you get one and it has a 5 on it, and then once you get 5 more, you flip it over and it's a 10. And there's also certain people that you can play, and you pay different resources. One is a gardener, and it would let you place a tile on top of a tile. Another one, I can't remember the name, but it'll let you cover up a symbol. So if there's one really close to you, but you want it to be further away, then you can cover that up and it's gone. And then you can go the further path to get more gates through this. And that's really all it is to the game. But with 4 players, near the end, you're like, oh, there's nothing left, nowhere to go. And you can only get a few little piddly resources. It was quick. I think we played that in half an hour maybe. But yeah,
nice.
That was the next one for me.
And then after that, we played Libertalia Winds of Gaelcrest.
Yes.
And we played that one together. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I felt like at the beginning, I was so confused. It's like, okay, well, you have these cards. Okay, now you play a card, and then we'll go through put them in
The
numerical
day phase.
order, and
Yeah.
then you go through the day phase and activate any card that
Yeah.
has a day action.
Yeah.
And then you go back and you do the dusk phase, and
Yeah.
you activate any of that. And
And
then
you
you
get
pick up a
loot.
tile, because
Yeah.
there's these little tiles that you can pick up, and then that's going to have different actions that can be activated. And then this card goes into your ship. And I wasn't sure what was going on at first. I'm like, okay, wait, what? So... What do you mean? We go through and then through, and it's like, how does it work? And then what's the point of putting them? Like, so before you kind of get a feel of what is the point of this game, it took a bit, and then we got playing it, and it was, you know, I enjoyed the mechanism of it, and it was like a smooth play, and it was kind of neat with all the thing. The only thing is that this one is mean.
It's very mean.
It's mean, mind you. It's a pirate game.
Yeah, it's
so
supposed
maybe
to be.
it fits the theme for sure. But I was like, huh. Yeah, no, I don't think I need to go out of my way to get this one.
I think she might be getting rid of this one. I'm not sure. She was kind of on the fence with it, and we played it 2-player, which is actually a 3-player because you play with an AI.
Right.
And then we played it with the 4 of us.
Yeah.
And we were all kind of like...
I can just imagine playing this with my family and then be like, okay, great, well, now my kid's not talking to my other kid. Like, honestly, I think it'd be too... Yeah, it just had a mean streak
Because,
to it.
you can literally... play a card and it's like get rid of the rightmost card, and then that person's like, huh.
So then I don't
so
get...
I get no loot. I get
you
nobody
get no
in my
loot,
ship.
you don't get
anything.
yeah. Like it would, but I mean, it was interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely matches the theme, but...
I played the old version a while ago on BGA, and it was okay. And I had actually played the board game version too once, and I liked it, but it was a long time ago, so I don't... Maybe all my cards worked out, and I never got kicked off. Like, you never know.
Right.
I just locked out in that one, but yeah, that was
Libertalia. Well, then we set up Heaven and Ale.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So we set it all up. I was teaching it, but I had to leave for another game. So I was like, okay, well, here you guys go. Hopefully it's... And I think you ended up packing it up.
Well, we had... The 3 of us were playing it. And then they were all searching on their phone for these creature comforts. And then when I talked to this lady...
We're still on the creature comfort hunt.
They each took off because there's this game store just a block down. So one left, and so there was 3 of us, and we were playing her board.
Yeah.
But we kind of kept having to go back to the rules. And then so she brought back creature comforts, and then Cherry left to go buy hers and your coffee.
And my coffee.
And came back, and so we're kind of playing it.
It's ridiculous.
And we're sitting there, and then I'm looking at Ashley, I'm like, should we just wrap this up and play creature comfort? She's like, yes!
Now, Evan and Hale is amazing.
It is good.
It's such a neat game, and it's cool with because it's one of those where you can go as far as you want on the track and do the actions, but then you skip a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have the board that you're building, and if you build on the shady side, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And you got to pay twice as much for the light side, but it's the light side that's going to move your things along, that's going to give you the points. Yeah. But anyways, it is a neat game, definitely worth looking into.
I really want to play that again sometime, but we were just kind of not in the mindset of, okay,
and you guys ended up playing
back to the rules, and they were all on a high of creature comfort, so I'm like, okay, let's just play this.
And you played it
we played a 3-player game, and it is very good at 3 players. Now, I had played that before. A couple months ago, I came down to play with Chrissy, two for one sheep. She has a YouTube channel. She was actually at the convention this weekend. And so she taught me that. And I was kind of so-so on it. And because I kind of compared it to my Everdell, and I love my Everdell. So I didn't want it to infringe on my Everdell game. So I didn't buy it.
So given the option of playing the 2, you would play Everdell.
Oh, yeah. 100%. But this was my second play of it. And I really liked it more.
Right.
So I do really like it, but it won't replace Everdell. But it's definitely got a spot. And you all 3 have the game, so I don't need to buy it.
There's a lot of copy in our group now.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Now, the game I left to play was A Feast for Odin.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
It's a big, heavy boy, this one.
And I wanted to. Like, I was like, hey, I've heard great things about this. I want to play this. So I went there, and then they were teaching. Now, this game... So everybody has their own player board, and you're trying to fill it in, and there's like negative 50 points or something on there.
And you played with the expansion, didn't you guys? Or no?
No, I don't think we did.
Okay.
But there's I don't know, it's all like negative points with a few different things. And then you have the board. It's a worker placement game. And you have the board of all the different actions you can do, and there's I don't know, 50 different actions you can activate. And then we got playing it, and it final score for me was -7, and I lost, and the winner was at 7.
Yeah,
like it was like
that's pretty low score,
it was like there was so much of the game we didn't even look. You had all these extra maps you could bring in. We didn't even do any of that. Like we just never got to. I had my little tiny whaling boats, and I had a few of those, and then I ended up swapping them over to upgrade to like a bigger boat, and then just swapping it over for points because you're sending the people over. Yeah. So I kind of did, but this game was tight.
Yeah. The first time you play this game, it's like you look at those other boards and you're like, how would you ever fulfill this?
Honestly, like it's not like it was like, okay, wait, and we ended up skipping the last round. Like, because, like, oh, well, the auction is starting. Maybe, did you want to go? And I was like, no, it's fine. I don't think I have to go. I shouldn't have gone.
You should have played that.
I should have finished this game. But it was just like, we're like, okay, there's only one round left. Yeah. We're not going to be able to do anything amazing. Like, it was just like, oh. And I don't know how long I played it for, but I think I'm good. I don't think I need to play this one again. It's not like... And I could see that. Like, I didn't do any rating. And if I did set myself up to rate, I would have been able to get bigger tiles that would have covered bigger things on my thing. So probably would have get a positive score. Yeah. But it was just, I don't know.
You're good with that one? Yeah, no, I love this game. I've played it a lot, though. It took me, because I soloed it a lot while I was playing it. Because that first game was the same for me. I'm like, what? And then you slowly start to figure out, oh, I need to get more boards because then I get more things to cover more.
And I could see that the more you play it, probably the more you start to tweak. But it is so not fidgety, but I mean, like, where everything you do can have such an impact. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't do that. I concentrated on this. And it's not like, oh, we'll just do a little bit of everything and see what happens. And it'll probably be pretty close. And I was like, no, this game will just beat you up. Yeah. And, you know, so I could see that you could play this one more and it could get better, but I don't. And then it was
auction time.
Oh my God. Now I got there. The auction was already started.
Well, yeah. So before you came, I had said, okay, well, you give me a list because we thought she'd still be playing Feast for Odin and what your highest bid would be, and we'll bid for you and stuff. So I think there was maybe 2 of what you had put on your list before you came, and someone had outbid, so we didn't get them. So then Melanie came and sat down, and, well, I'll let her tell you.
I may have a problem. So I went and grabbed some cash first, because I was like, oh, geez, I had a little bit with me, but I went and grabbed cash first, just in case. Yeah. And now we're sitting there, and there's, like, these games that are coming up, and honestly, most of these games I hadn't heard of. Yeah. But they're like, hey, $1. Yeah. $1, anybody $1? I was like, well, yeah, $1. So I'm putting my hand up. And then, honestly, like, most of the games I bought went for $5 to $10. Yeah. One was $15. I think the biggest one I spent was $25.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was Heroes of Land and Sea. That's like $120 in Canadian money game.
It's a big, and that was a good buy. Yeah, that was. But I mean, it's embarrassing because they're like, oh, Melanie. It's like everyone's like, oh, the person with the blue hat, oh, the person with the red shirt, and Melanie. I was like, oh,
we had piles on our table. We couldn't see each other anymore.
Well, one of them was Get Bit Deluxe.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody was bidding on it. Yeah. And I'm like, this is an amazing game. It can't... No. So I put my hand up. I ended up buying it for $6. Yeah. I already own Get Bit Deluxe. I'm like, I'm not letting it go for $6. So she was like, I'll buy it from you. So then she bought it. But yeah, I don't even know. One was tomorrow. And this one comes with a warning, I guess, like it's dark.
Or dark.
It's dark. Like, it's just like you're trying to create what does it say? Like, you're trying to kill off some of the population and by creating war and like warfare. That's very, and like it's
far right.
For creature comfort. Yeah. But it was like, huh. I don't know. I was like, well, okay, well, I bought it anyway, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Another one was, and I can't remember, like, I don't even remember these. They went, like, straight to the car. I have no idea what I bought.
Yeah.
But I bought, like, 7 or 8 games, maybe? It was ridiculous.
Maybe they were big boxes, but yeah. Oh, that's not too bad then.
Oh. But anyways, like, one of them is a deck builder of the characters from the Red Dragon Inn.
Right.
No, another one was a really cool looking box. And that's all I know about it.
That one was
the white, like the white box one,
yeah.
and with like I don't even know what it's called, but it looks super cool. And I look at the back and it looks really cool.
Yeah.
So I regret nothing. And now today,
there's a flea market.
There's a flea market today.
Oh, I know. And I'm helping our friend. She's selling a bunch of stuff, so we're putting a few games, but I might get first crack at the flea market, so this is going to be scary.
I think
I didn't buy anything at the auction, but we'll have to see what we can find today. But
that's insane.
But we did play a few more games after the auction.
Yeah, so after the auction, we ended up playing Nova Luna.
Yes, Nova Luna, one of my favorites of like a puzzly game. So that's a new Uwe Rosenberg game. It's a tile laying game, and you draft these tiles from this
rondelle?
Yeah, it's a rondelle, and it's like a moon-centered piece. And so they're all in a circle, and you'll pick one of the next 3 from this moon that you place down. You'll take the tile and put it in front of you, and then whatever number is on that tile, so if it's a complicated tile, it'll have a high number, and then you move your little pawn that many spaces forward. And then the next player will go, and you go around in turn order, and then after that, it's always the player's turn who's in last, just like in patchwork kind of thing. It's not a polyomino game, though. So you place this tile down, and on the tile, it has little circles with colors in it. And it might have 3 yellow, and one circle might have a red, blue, and a yellow. Now, you need to have those tiles around that tile to suffice it. So you start with this handful of discs. I think it might be 20 you start with.
Something like that.
And as soon as you suffice one of those little circles, you get to put your disc on it. Now, if you have one that has, say, like 3 yellow, you don't have to have 3 yellow right immediately around that tile. You just have to have 3 yellow connected to it.
So you kind of have, if your tile touches a tile that has a cluster of 3 yellows,
then that sufficed. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get that till partway through the game.
Yeah, I was teaching, so maybe that's why. I can teach games very well.
I was still on my high from the auction, maybe, too.
Euro games I can do maybe better teaching, but abstract, I don't know why I can't describe them, because I know them so well that it's like, this is what we're doing. Everyone's like, huh? So it took a few rounds for you and Ashley to figure it out. But you got there.
It was good.
Yeah, it's an addicting one. It's a good solo one, too, because you just sit there and you try and beat this score, and you're like, oh, I can't do it. But the way you win is just placing all your little discs on. Yeah. And once whoever does that, that's the winner. And if you end up going through all the tiles and nobody's placed all the discs, then it's whoever has the least left.
I mean, I heard lots of good stuff about Nova Luna. I had never played it. I loved it. Yeah. It was great. And it looks nice. Like on the table, it has great table really presence. Pretty. Yeah. So yeah, that's on my wish list now. Yeah. After Nova Luna, we ended up playing the Get Bit copy that I bought and sold to Ashley. Yeah. Now, so with the Get Bit's just cute, silly, funny.
It is.
Fun game. Yeah. And everybody gets a little robot. And with a deluxe copy, there's, like, you get the stickers. Mine was like a busty robot. And, so we all have these robots, and they're swimming. And then at the back... In a line. Yep. And at the back of the line, there's a shark. And we all have cards that goes from 1 to... Is it 1 to 9? No, so sorry. It's 1 to 7, but we took out cards because of the number of players. Right. Then on your turn, you look at your cards, and you put a card face down. Mm-hmm. And then everybody reveals it at the same time. Now, if there's any duplicate, so if anybody... 2 people played 3, then the 3s are removed and you don't move. Right. And then you start from the lowest number. So if 1 got played, then whoever played the 1, that robot goes to the front of the line. Yeah. And then 2 goes to the front of the line, so on. You go through the numerical order. And then whoever at the end of playing all these cards, whoever's at the back of the line, and it could be if you're 1 and everybody moved, then you're right back at the back of the line. So then the shark bites off one of your limbs. Mm. So you lose a leg and then you go to the front of the line. Mm-hmm. And then you do this again. And then, like, so be like, oh, okay, great, I'm doing great. Then, oh, no, darn it, what did you play it for? And then, so then you're eliminated, you don't move forward, you're at the back of the line, so you lose another limb, and it's last man standing.
Yeah.
Like, it's silly.
Yeah, it's still fun, because you're looking at each other like, what number are you going to play?
Well, me and Cherry played, like, the same number, and I'm looking at her, and then we put the card is the same card. Like 4 or 5 times in a row. And I was like, get out of my head.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Yeah.
It's cute.
No, after that, we
left for our scheduled games.
Yes.
Yeah, so you went off to play Gaia Project, and me and Ashley played Dinosaur Rawr and Write.
Oh,
Dinosaur
nice.
Island Rawr and Write.
How was it?
So this one I had been looking forward to this one because I have Dinosaur Island, which I really like, and then Cherry has Dinosaur World.
Yeah.
So they're very similar, but this was more of a spin-off of Dinosaur Island.
Yeah.
Obviously. Now, I don't know if it was the fact that they put us at a table of 8 people, and the table is normally for 4 people.
Oh, yeah.
Or 6 maybe.
So they made it
and they
big
squished us all there, but to teach it, because I was like, is this 2 games or just 1? Like, I thought maybe the box, it was for 8 people. And she goes, oh, no, it's 2 sets of games. I just put you here to teach it. And I'm like, okay, so we could move to another table and spread out for the afterwards? But nobody wanted to.
Oh, nobody did?
Like,
jeez.
So we kind of had, like, no elbow room, just our little paper, and we're just kind of writing.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was okay. Like, it wasn't what I thought it would be. Awesome. There's been such good talk about this game, and people having it on their top 10s, and you know, I don't think I love the fact where you're drawing in the dinosaur pens, and then you have to attach the roads to it. I'm not a huge fan, and I'm not the most creative person where you're trying to like figure out it. You know, I think it would have been easier if it was even just little pieces. I can build better than I can think about drawing. I don't have the drawing mind.
So Draftosaurus for you.
Yes, I love Draftosaurus. But you do draft dice, just like in Dinosaur Island, and then you'll each take one, and it's a snake draft. So if you're a 4-player, you go around the table, and that last person then gets to take 2, and then it comes back to you.
That's called a snake draft.
Snake draft.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
So Sagrada does that.
Right.
Too.
Yeah.
But, so the dice are really big and chunky, just like the game, and there's all different kinds of actions that you can take, and you do have 2-player boards. And the same thing, if you can build dinosaurs, but you get threat for each dinosaur, and if you have too much threat, then they're going to kill some people, and you're going to get some negative points. You can also like build up helpers that you hire, and they'll give you benefits each round kind of thing. You can build attractions, so like a food place, what's the other thing? Clothing, merchandise place.
Yeah.
And those will give you bonuses each round too. But halfway through the game, we had no idea, but there was this one person you could hire, and they would end up giving other players threat. and we didn't even notice this. And 2 of the guys, so in our 4-player game, it was me and Ashley and these 2 guys, well, they both hired that person. So we each got 2 threat extra each round.
Oh, geez.
Which was like, oh, okay. I had no idea you could give us crap like that, right? So on top of the threat you get, because you draft all these dice, and the one dice that is left, everybody gets that threat. Mm-hmm. So you're always hoping, you're kind of forcing that last player to take that 3 threat dice, even though it's like something crappy in the middle.
Right.
But because you don't want to take it, that or everybody's going to get that threat.
Yes.
No, it was, I mean, you have to build roads and stuff. Yeah, it didn't blow me away like I thought it would.
Well, if you built it up so much in your mind.
Yeah,
right?
maybe. Yeah. It could be like another thing that I could maybe play again when I could spread out and have more room and not just sit there with my elbows touching and writing down on paper. But yeah, I'm not going to go out and buy this one until I would maybe try it again as well.
Perfect.
But yeah.
And then Cherry and I played Gaia Project.
Yeah.
And now I had just recently played Terra Mystica.
Right.
Gaia Project plays almost exactly the same. It is so similar. I just find the map is modular, so it'll change up.
Changes up. Right.
I found the map to be a lot more restricting, because I didn't get the ability to spread out and be able to travel out for a bit. So I could do what I got and I could upgrade what I had, but I couldn't reach the other planets until a little bit later in the game. Like for me, the white resource was very limited, and I was the bird people, like the yellow. Was that yellow? No, I was red. I was the red bird people, anyways. But each player has different abilities, and then so it was just very limiting. But and also like I'm saying, okay, I got the Terra Mystica. I got those. So all the little nuances that got added to the Gaia project, I didn't know what they did. Like I never utilized them. Cherry did quite a bit, but that was also because that was her personal. So I never used the purple planet and the green planet, which is kind of like the Gaia ones or whatever. So I think I kind of felt a little bit stuck to spread out. My ability was I got a lot of money and I was able to convert money fairly easily into other stuff, but still not enough. Like that ore resource was so slim and limited for me. But yeah, it was but it was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Like we were playing, you guys came by, left 15 minutes, come back, and apparently it was 45. Right. Like it was just like, oh, really? Like, so when it's a bigger game, like, and it plays long or whatever, I don't know how long we played for, but it didn't feel like it.
Yeah, I think you guys were a good 3, at least 3.5 maybe.
Yeah,
but yeah, you get into those heavy games.
Like
it doesn't
with those
feel
ones,
like
it does not feel like you're playing that long. Like Creature Comfort, because of all the downtime, that one you felt it. This one really didn't. Yeah. Really didn't. I really liked it. I lost. Yeah. I think I had 61 points. Mm-hmm. And the winner had 161 points.
Holy crap.
Or something like that. Like he lapped me. Or 165 or something like that. So it was, but I mean, like, you still, even though like I'm dead last by quite a bit, it still felt productive. It didn't feel like I was like,
you're still hitting stuff.
But yeah, no, that one was great. And then that's the last one we played. So then you guys took off for a while and played one.
Yeah, so we were coming and grabbing your tickets because we were checking door prizes, and we came back and we had a friend of ours was there earlier, and he left us his ticket, and he said, okay, well, you guys you can have it. Well, he ended up winning. So and it was a gift certificate to a game store. So we had said before, we're like, whatever we win, we'll all share.
But then you also won earlier.
Oh yeah, I won a game too.
Flick 'em Up, Dead of Winter.
Flick 'em Up, right.
Which is one I own already. It's neat. It's cute. But yeah.
Awesome. So while they were playing Gaia Project, me and Ashley went and were checking out games, and she's like, oh, we should get our Everdell fix in, because I sold my Everdell, I've talked about before, to wait for this big collector's edition. I'm like, I don't know if I can play just the base game, but we did. We pulled it out, set it up. We literally had that game done in 40 minutes. Because we came back, we checked it back in the library, came back, checked on these Gaia Project players, and they were like, you played a game? Like, it feels like you were gone 15 minutes ago. So we did that, and then we also played one more. We got one more in.
Oh, really? Still?
Here waiting for you, yeah. So I pulled out Floriferous and taught Ashley that one, and it was, it's just a little quick card game, a set collecting game where you're collecting flowers and all kinds of point cards. And, I mean, that was maybe a 15-minute game.
Yep.
So we got that one in, and then you guys were almost done Gaia Project, and that pretty much
that wrapped up day 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we're still going for day 3.
Yeah.
So we're still playing from 9 to 6. Yeah. And then there's
a flea market.
And we know Melanie has no self-control. And I'm a little bit scared. Yeah. But yeah, so this is our sneaked in episode for this. Now, Carla, where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram at Boardgame Specialist, all one word. And I share a Facebook page with my friend, and it's called Red Deer Board Game Fanatics.
And I'm also on Instagram as boardgame_mama. My YouTube channel is Boardgame Mama. And my Facebook group, and I just changed the name, so I got to remember that, right? So it's Boardgame Mama and Friends are playing all the games.
Right.
So I guess we'll see everybody next week for real now, the patio and deck games.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.
Bye.